Let's set up October Daily 2025, story number 2. Hi, friends. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Torey, and today I am working in my October Daily 2025 album on my second story. For this story, I am going to be documenting a couple pieces of decoration within my house. Very minimal decoration, even though I do have quite a lot of Halloween decorations up. But I wanted to document two little things specifically, one being the floating candles that we put in our dining room, and another being like this really cute little candle topper situation that goes on top of candles that adds like a little bit of like shadow effect when the candle is lit. And I just am just so happy with both of these decorations. So I am actually using a couple of scrap pieces of paper from years past, this star paper. One of my photos is going to be almost a full page photo, and the other one is very tiny. This is probably a little bit smaller than a 3x4. I could not tell you off the top of my head what size this ended up being, but it is quite small. Essentially, I just put it in an app that would place two 3x4 photos next to each other and just added a huge border so that it would be smaller than the 3x4. I'm then kind of going through embellishments and trying to figure out how I am going to lay this out. I'm not going to have a ton of patterned paper on this particular spread because I'm just using whatever is left over from story number 1, and I'm actually not going to end up covering that completely. I just covered it a little bit with that star paper. I was really trying to make this tag work that I think said spooky magic or something like that on there. And I ended up messing it up by placing some red line tape on the back of it, but I placed that on the wrong side. And this paper or tag, I'm not even sure what it was originally. It was just in my stash, but it was already super thick. So I didn't want to place another piece of paper on the back of it and make it even thicker than it already was. So I did not end up using this because I messed up the hinge that I was trying to create. I essentially was trying to just make a little just extra bit of decoration for this particular page, and I messed that up so that I did not end up doing it. I will say though, placing this down on my paper just as I placed it on right there would have been really cute as well, I think, but that's obviously not what I ended up doing if you looked at the cover photo for the video. I used one of these circle plastic pieces with the bats on it, and I actually placed that on a little orange doily that I had in my stash. And I will use that as kind of the primary decoration for a little flip that I am going to end up making. But before I start kind of adhering that all of together, I am going to pull out a little bit more red line tape and place it over top of the strings that I had on yesterday's story or story 1, because I wanted those strings or the twine or whatever whatever the correct word for that is. I wanted that to be super secure and not have to worry about that falling off. So I just used my regular tape runner for the paper, but just added a little bit of red line tape over that twine. That way it is really, really secure. I did not plan for needing to do holes through my paper. So the actual tag, like the hanging tag situation that I created for story number 1, is going to give me a little bit of trouble repunching these holes for the back of the page. But I did end up managing to get it done somehow. Um, so yeah, I'm just going to get those punched and then we will move right along to kind of figuring out more decorations as well as getting all of my photos down. I do go through additionally some more of those papers and embellishments and stuff like that, trying to really figure out what I'm going to be doing on the second page. This first half of the spread is very easy because it is primarily just a photo, so I don't have to do much decorating on that page. It's the next page that's going to give me a little bit of trouble, just really figuring out exactly what I want to do. And I think that I struggled with that one a little bit because I did really want to use that spooky magic little tag, but since I messed it up, I didn't want to use it, but I still wanted to use it. So I think that I put myself into a little bit of a mental block situation with that there, and it was making it a little bit hard for me to figure out really how I wanted this end result to look. I did have a piece of paper that I'd pulled out as a possibility for this particular story, and I am going to end up using it. Wow, my words there for a second. And I'm just going to adhere that down with some washi tape. So the problem that I was having with that tag is that I didn't want washi tape to cover the front of the tag that had said spooky magic. But I'm not going to run into that issue with this just patterned paper because there are no words or anything that the washi tape could cover. So I didn't run into that with this particular like weird little tag flip thing that I'm making right now. I decided that I was going to trim this down before I tried to adhere these together. And I did end up actually putting the washi tape on just one part and then really like just nesting the two pieces of paper side by side so I could get a really flush attachment with that. And since this secondary patterned paper that I'm attaching has a lot of straight lines on it, it made it really easy for me to basically line those washi tape pieces up so they're like super straight, or at least as straight as they can be, being that I'm just kind of laying it down freehand. So that is how that's going to end up looking. And I'm just going to trim off any of the extra washi tape that is hanging off the side. And I will use that little flip situation that I've just created as the home for my little doily and bat plastic sticker. Honestly, I'm pretty excited that I have already used one of these little plastic circles because I do remember talking about those for a little bit in my stash video this year, saying that like I really needed to use some of those because like I've not used them for like the last couple of years. So I'm glad that I have already used at least one so far in this album. And I do have plans for another one that I know will work perfectly. So I'm gonna at least use two in my album this year. So that is a small win for me, I think. Just going back and getting some more holes punched. And then we're going to mess around with kind of decorations again. I am going to use some little white puffy alpha stickers. I think these came from Citrus Twist like years ago, and I think I got them with December daily items or maybe an October daily kit. I have no idea where I got them, but I'm pretty sure they're from Citrus Twist. And I'm just going to use those to put out the word decor because primarily this story is going to be about some decorations that I have around the house, specifically the floating candles that we put in the dining room. Those were actually a gift that I received from a friend, and I was so excited to get them put up. And once I finally had them put up, I ended up turning all of the lights off in the dining room or the immediate household area so that I could try and get a photo of what it looked like when those candles were lit in the dark. They're battery operated candles, so of course they're not like real flames or anything, but they looked super cool. And that's what that photo is on the left there. Just a photo of what the candles look like when it's dark in the dining room and they are on. And then the other little photo that I'm attaching now is just a photo of a candle that I have lit with that little candle like topper situation on it, and how that looks. And again, super cute. And I'm just loving both of these pieces added to my home this year. I am going to go ahead and get my story number sticker added as well. I always forget about this, so I feel like they come up at the most random parts in these videos because like I'll remember them very randomly, or I'll remember them like after I finish my spread. So thankfully for this one, I did remember it prior to finishing my spread, so I just randomly popped that in there as well. I also used the two little vellum decoration pieces that I'd pulled out closer to the beginning of the video and placed those down. Last year, I think I purchased a bunch of these bat paper clips. I can't remember off the top of my head the company name that I purchased them from, but I 100% want to use these in my album this year. And actually, I think I purchased these this year. I don't even think this was last year. I think this was like earlier in like April of this year. Um, so cute those things are, and I definitely need to find one or two places to use those in this album for sure. Now I'm just going to finish decorating. My photo on the left feels a little bit empty, so I am trying to see if there's anything currently in my little like embellishment stash that I can use to just add just a little bit of decoration to that page as well. And then I will be adding one of these wooden pieces to the front of my cover of my flip as well. That way it just kind of ties in. One of those little wooden pieces has a house on it, and it felt like I would be missing an opportunity to use it and have it make sense since I was talking about decorations within my house. So I will end up using that one, just not currently on the page that it's on. I also have pulled out quite a bit of like chipboard, like phrase or quote stickers. And I am going to end up using one that says, just because I cannot see it doesn't mean I can't believe it. And that's a Jack Skellington quote from The Nightmare Before Christmas. So I am trimming that down actually because it's going to be far too big for my spread or my page, if you will. So I'm just going to use my scissors and cut that into 3 little strips and stagger those alongside each other on the left hand photo before I go in and add that chipboard. It's not chipboard, it's an actual wooden piece. Before I add the wooden piece to the right hand side of the spread. And then I think that I will jump in and get all of my journaling done before we finish up this spread. For the journaling that I will be doing on this particular story, I am going to do some fun lettering at the very top of the area that I have for journaling, which is going to be the back of this little flip card. And I'm going to write eek really big all the way across this area. And I don't know why, but that just really felt right for me. And I love the way that it looks. So I will write eek really big, and I'm going to color in some of the open space that I left. And then I will basically just talk about in my journaling most of the stuff that I've talked about while going over what I'm doing during this process video, just about those floating candles as well as the candle topper that I have for this year and how much we are loving both of them. But that's really all I've got that's going to be happening in this particular video. I would love to know how your October daily is going down in the comments below. Let me know what you think of this particular spread. And yeah, that's really all I have. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!